All right, so we got Melissa Dougherty.
Hey.
Hi.
What's up? So it's a privilege to have Melissa. I guess we could quickly talk about, like, you know my wife. So so you knew my wife through high school.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how we all got connected because of her. And she was best friends with my little sister in high school. And we were like acquaintances.
Right.
And she found me on Instagram and she's like, hey, my husband and his best friend are doing a YouTube thing. And then we all became friends.
So one day she brought up you and she's like, do you know Melissa? And she brought me like a video and I was like, well, yeah, like
and then
she's on Alan Parr's top 10 Christian YouTubers.
And then he instantly sent it to me and I was like, hey, my wife knows her. And I was like, no way.
That's interesting.
And
I think you guys told me that. I think I forgot it.
So we got all hyped and excited. So
so that's cool.
I was excited. I love it when just for the record, I love it when like local people come up and say hi.
I think if more local people did stuff, it could turn into like doing more stuff for the community and stuff. So
like it's nice, it's fun.
Yeah. So anyways, that's how we met. We met, right? And then we started to have coffees and stuff, right? And I think we were at Flying Star or something, coffee, and then we brought up like the pastor stuff, right? Like, hey, did you see the pastor with these
here's the story. It was
go ahead, go
Lino's
for it.
idea.
Go for it.
Gosh, I keep touching the mic. No. So we're sitting there, we're having a meal. Yeah. And I even remember where we were sitting and stuff. It was a nice day. I got to eat alone and stuff for a while. It was great because, kids are always around me. And we were just joking. We were just spitballing. Yeah. We were just talking about, we were just kind of making fun of the whole like entertainment side of church. And you were, it was you made a really funny joke. That's what it was. I can't remember what it was. You were just like, Honda, glory, or something. You said something funny and you kept going on with the story. Yeah. And I'm like, this would make a great satire. And there it was. It was born. So yeah. And then I made you dress in tight pants and
that was so tight pants behind the scenes. So we're gonna start talking about the satire, right?
The satire,
behind scenes, my wife I think ordered some pants on Amazon and they were like too tight.
They were perfect.
Well, there was a pair before that, right?
Really?
There was a pair before that and they were like super tight. Like I couldn't even put them on super tight.
I honestly didn't even see the difference in you. If I'm going to be honest, I felt like you looked like you normally do.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
I'm joking.
All right. So we're just going to get into kind of like satire, the idea of the satire. It's broken up in chapters. How would you call it? Like,
I would say it was broken up into scenes.
Okay.
And each scene was supposed to kind of represent, which you did so well, represent different types of pastors. Yeah. And what I did, and I do this with a lot of satires, is that, who was it? B. Arthur. B. Arthur is one of my favorite comedians. She was one of the Golden Girls. She played Dorothy on the Golden Girls. I love this woman's sense of humor, right? And the one thing she always said about humor is that comedy, all it is just, you're carrying it out to its logical conclusion is basically what she's saying, but you take yourself super seriously, right? Like you make it super serious and you literally bring it out. And I always remember that when I write. So what I do is I think the first one is supposed to be Joel Osteen. I literally took all of that, you guys know, most of the lines for each pastor was taken from these pastors and put into this character, Pastor Lino. And so Joel Osteen was the first one. The second one was, golly, I know the third one was Mike Todd. Yeah. And I don't even watch Mike Todd a lot. Yeah. I just wanted to get the entertainment aspect out. I wanted to this is what we do, guys.
That was, I will say that's one that I think I brought up, and then we showed you the video. Yes. And it was like, I don't know. Do we really want to? I think you didn't maybe want to do that. I don't know.
I don't remember.
It was like one of those where I was like, I don't know. This is a little much. But yeah. So
I can't remember exactly what it was. I think I was just trying to find something, an aspect of entertainment.
I think it's illustrations, right? Like over the top illustrations and over the top craziness.
Yeah. And then I think the second one, and the whole, let's just say it. the entire thing just epitomized Stephen Furtick. The attitude,
It
the
did,
persona,
honestly.
and I'm like, just find that, and just bring it out. And so
I'm not as yoked as Stephen
You're
Furtick.
not as yoked.
No,
Not as anointed.
Yeah.
You didn't leak oil, so I wasn't impressed. So and then Bill Johnson, but it's not the pastors themselves; it's really what they stand for, right? And then we just totally made it a stereotype.
Yeah. But I'm curious to know, and I mean I know what it is, but I want to hear you say it, like the purpose behind, other than being funny, what was the purpose behind what was the purpose behind the video?
The purpose behind any satire is to get the point across, to show people their folly with the intent of change. Like, I put this almost in every satirical video because that is the point of my satire. There's different types of satire, but this is, you're taking a topic, an object, whatever it is, and you're making it look the way it actually looks to other people. And I've had people come around. I had somebody come to Christ because of a satire article.
I believe it.
Yeah, man. It's like, oh, I've never heard of it like that before, and like, we were talking about this before we got on, but one of the things that really grinds my gears is man, that's what I make satire about. Like, oh man, there's some outlet for my sarcasm. It's great.
Yeah.
But, I see stuff, and you can have like a really, one-to-one conversation about it. Like, so for example, we can talk about, we're talking about progressive Christians, right?
Yeah.
Before we got on. And one of the things that really grinds my gears about anybody really is like, I mean, I study this for a living, right? Like, you study the Bible, you study the church, you study Orthodox Christian beliefs. Right? And say I wasn't even a Christian. If I were to do that with any religion, I would know what they believed by reading their material, understanding what their scriptures say, right? I would want to know what pure Islam is, Jehovah's Witnesses, LDS, whatever the religion is, Buddhism. There's a right and wrong way to do that. So if you take a religion and then you just redefine it, it is no longer that religion.
That's good.
Okay. So so you take that, and we're having this conversation, and I'm like, well, why don't I just make a satire out of it to get the point across? And the point that I like to make whenever I talk about this topic in particular, because it grinds my gears, if you can't tell, things that grind my gears, I make satires about. When somebody says they're a Christian, but they don't hold to like hardly any Christian beliefs. And the example that I use is a vegan, and it's a vegan who loves meat, right? And so they're going through their vegan cookbook, and they're like,
even possible?
They're not a vegan.
Yeah,
exactly. You got my point.
Got it.
And it's like, I was telling you, Chuck, before we got on, I was doing my makeup one day, and I'm like, man, this would make a great satire. How could I do this? And I did. I wrote up, I would think, a really good satire that makes that point of a vegan who's explaining, as a progressive vegan, I love meat, and I'm so tired, of the judgment that we show towards meat eaters. It needs to stop, right? And the point is that you're not a vegan. So quit saying you're a vegan. And all this stuff. And so it gets the point across in a very artistic way. And to me, and give me you guys your thoughts on this, maybe you agree or disagree, but to me, it's like an art.
For sure.
I believe it's a type of art to get a point across
using
humor. Yeah.
Well,
I agree with you.
So we'll kind of dive right into it, right? So I think for the most part, you're getting positive feedback from your
I don't
subs,
expect
right?
positive feedback, but I thank you when you give me positive feedback.
and I think for the most part, right? So
the majority of the stuff I seen, because I was curious. It's our first thing, so
especially for you guys, this is like your first
it's our first
introduction on my channel.
It's like our breakthrough, the moment we've been waiting for. But like I went through and looked at.
Can I have your autograph, Chuck?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We went through a lot of stuff. And I looked through a lot of stuff, and majority of it is good. But I've seen the occasional this is blasphemy.
Oh yeah.
How dare you mock the Holy Spirit?
And we had this.
I get that a lot.
We had this talk, right? Like so, at no point. I mean, we talked about it. Chuck was I don't know, dude, this is a little much. I said, it's not much for me because I'm not making. I believe in the power of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Jesus Christ, 3 in 1. Like I'm not making fun of that. The supernatural being.
Yeah,
we're making fun of people that are abusing the gospel in a sense,
Let
right?
me throw
And
this
that's
out there
kind
about
of what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. This is what gets me about this argument, and let me know what you guys think about this.
I will.
Okay, so I think it's really interesting that you can take a man who's acting like a fool. Okay, he's acting a fool. Like people might like Stephen Furtick, but sometimes the theatrics, the things that we do here in the American church, are not for God's glory. All right. There's a saying that bad theology hurts people. I say this all the time. Yeah. And whenever you have a lack of good theology in place of entertainment or feel good message or self-help or whatever it is, nobody's upset at the pastor. I think it's really strange whenever we elevate pastors to that degree.
Oh yeah, don't touch the anointed.
Exactly.
That's true.
This is my problem, and that's why I'm like, hey, these are men.
Yeah.
And this
just
is
like us.
This is the problem, right? And so I think that and this is my whole problem with a lot of things that go on in the hyper charismatic community. Yeah. I always say I'm like 5/10 charismatic, like 7/10 on some days. Like, it just depends.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Like, I'm more charismatic than people think. And, but the point is that whenever you're having a man who you think speaks for God, all of a sudden they can do no wrong. So what do? You defend them because you're offended. You're standing up for them.
Yeah.
When you don't even see the point of what we're saying. Like, is this okay?
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
Like, you're basically saying this is okay. This is acceptable behavior. And I just disagree. I don't think that it is.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I got a question though.
Yeah.
Like, do you know, like, I've heard people say like, oh, there's different churches for different type of people, and you know what I'm saying? Do you think
like the evangelical church, the
like
learning
they
church,
have their purpose? Like, do you think that there could be a purpose for that kind of preaching or church or whatnot? And I'll say it. There was a time, like, I was down in the dumps. You know, I wasn't feeling God. Like, God, where are you at? Like, life is just beating me down. And it was a Stephen Furtick message that I was like, no, I got this. You know what I mean? Like, God, you know, God is there. And I might not feel like he is, but he is listening. And I feel like it gave me motivation to go.
Do you still listen to him?
Occasionally. I'm not like on there following him.
But why don't you listen to him every day?
I don't need that every day.
Why?
Because sometimes I don't need the motivational whatever. Yeah.
So kind of what I'm getting at is 2 Jehovah's Witnesses got me out of the New Age.
Yeah.
So God is sovereign over these situations.
That's good.
Yeah. So whenever you're having an experience in life, okay, I can tell you story after story about this kind of stuff. The weird things that God will use.
Yeah, that's good.
I believe. First, let me just say this. Yeah.
He already changed his mind. He's like, all right, you're right. No,
I haven't changed my mind.
No, I know.
No, but I get what she's saying. She's saying little things that God uses and stuff like that.
But it's not Stephen Furtick.
Yeah, it's not Stephen Furtick.
Is my point, is that this is God. Yeah. This is my point. Good. Yeah, God is good. I mean, he'll use these strangest things to get people's attention, to bring them back into the fold.
Yeah.
I believe mega churches, man, I believe people walk through mega churches every day and are saved.
Yeah.
I believe that pastor is being used by God. Okay. The problem is that, and even in our own town, like, we see this where the pastor is just kind of put on a pedestal. And it's an uncomfortable feeling. And I know what they're doing. Like, you get people to come back to church, but most of them don't really know what they believe. Yeah. But I think that that's the difference, is that when you have somebody who's seeking for that stuff, most of the time they don't stay. They have to kind of outgrow and go somewhere else.
That's funny. I've shared this story before, but when I was a little kid, like, I grew up in a crazy household.
You told me a story.
Yeah, I would be up.
Sad, yeah.
I was up at night, and, you know, they would have the Benny Hinn would be on the thing. And I was a little boy, and Benny Hinn come on there and was like, you saying like, oh, if you need healing or whatever, and he just put your hands on the screen, and he put his hands on the screen. And I remember being a little boy putting my hands on the screen, like, thinking, like, praying with God and everything. But I grew up, I was like, I don't know if I believe in Benny. But at that moment, it was real. It was like you said, that God uses the little thing. But that little thing.
But what's real? Your trust and belief in God or
well,
Benny
then I didn't really know so much, but I believed and I felt comforted at what I was doing.
Like, I believe there was probably situations where Benny Hinn was at and people were saved, right? Yeah. But it wasn't Benny Hinn. It was the unbelievable faith that individual had in God to cause something supernatural.
Mm-hmm. So are they wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Who, Benny Hinn?
Yeah, I mean, anybody.
These guys are all about money, bro.
Bad theology hurts people, man. No, so it's like, if here's the thing. Okay, let's carry out this to its conclusion.
Yeah.
What do you do whenever you have a pastor like that or anybody out who is saying that you are supposed to be prosperous, you are supposed to receive healing, you're supposed to see blessing? How do you receive that? So what do they teach, though, about how you get your blessing?
You're saying how do you receive it? Like if I want to be prosperous and have money, that's what you're getting.
If you want to have your healing,
right?
If you want to have your...
You donate $5.99.99.
Hey, I'd be like, man, I'm from the street.
And the Passion Translation.
Yeah, I'd be like...
Declaration. We should have brought our declaration sticker.
I'm from the streets. I'm not no dummy. I'm not going to fall for it.
No, but there's so many people
trying to get at something.
Are, right?
So what is, in other words, what is the formula that these pastors tell you you will receive your blessing if?
Yeah, the more
what do you do?
The more you give. What do I do?
What do you give, but what else? What do you need?
Just
faith.
The giving part, the faith.
You gotta have faith.
Yeah, you gotta have
faith. Right? And what's gonna hinder you from receiving your blessing?
Being faithful with your tithing.
It's money.
Offers.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
But go beyond that. Move on from Benny Hinn to more like a Bill Johnson or a Joel Osteen. What prohibits you from getting your blessing? What in this
you
mind
just gotta be a good person.
Well, a good person,
believe in
but
yourself.
It's more or less.
And the harder you try,
that's more workspace.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at, what I mean, is that the formula is by faith, right? The more faith you have, don't doubt. You can have no doubt. You have to believe with all your heart.
You just gotta have faith.
Yeah,
God's gonna give you breakthrough.
And there's all kinds of theology around this. Okay, so here's my point. What happens if you don't get it? What's then the conclusion?
You start thinking you're doing something wrong.
Who are you displeasing if you're not getting your blessing?
Displeasing God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whose favor do you not have if you are not receiving your healing?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. That's hindered me in my younger years.
Do you understand how that can really screw with someone? Yeah. That can really mess with somebody's belief.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I agree with you.
And how they view God. So what they do is they get mad at God.
Yeah.
Or they think God doesn't love me because I'm not getting all these. Yeah. I'm not good. I'm not getting all these experiences.
And then you're just constantly depressed and you're stuck in a hole. You never grow.
So
that's bad theology.
I think that's what's scary, right? Is that yes, maybe you came from it and were able to overcome it. I believe I saw it and witnessed it, right? And I was able to overcome it. Some people don't.
Yeah.
And that those pastors are leading those people astray, right? They're teaching them bad theology, which hurts them.
It's still hard sometimes for me, if I'm not going to lie, to be content with, like, God loves me. I need to reject sin. I need to be in the word or whatnot. But there's still that little...
See, and I think there's more sensitive Christians like this. And this is where I learn a lot from, too. Because me, obviously, if you can't tell, I'm more cerebral with things.
Really?
And you're like kicking me.
Yeah. Was that a real life satire you just did?
Well, and I enjoy that about myself, though. I think that's a good thing because, like I'm teaching my kids about logical fallacies now.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. But the reason why, the number one reason I'm like, this is not so you can win arguments. It's so you're not guilty of it.
Yeah.
It's so that you can understand when you're not thinking well.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's like, that's important. However, I think that there's definitely a lot I can learn from, just my charismatic friends. JP Moreland is a great example of this. You would like his book.
Right.
He just came out with a good one about, and the cover caught my eye because I'm like, is this a JP Moreland book? Are you kidding me? I felt like something
What's the cover look like?
Well, it's about supernatural experiences, and there's like an aurora borealis in the background. And I'm like, JP Moreland, like the philosopher, theologian, brilliant man. But yeah, it's a great book.
I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna get it from.
Yeah, and he talks about this. He talks about all this, and I think he's just a really great balance of things. I needed to read that book.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I can see so much of certain things abused in the church, that for somebody like me, I have a responsibility. My service to others requires that I know what I'm talking about when I speak about these things. And I need to hear other perspectives that are quality perspectives. And Moreland to me is definitely quality. So, but yeah, there's a lot I can learn from people that are more in touch with their emotions.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's tough to learn.
Yeah. Okay.
Video.
Yeah. I mean, reaction.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the satire.
Well, no, I mean that went into why, right?
Good,
like why the video was done.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, along with like calling out the stuff and using an artistic way, and I thought I got the message across. And I think it's good that we call out, like in anything, you call out someone for doing something wrong. We're supposed to. You know what I'm saying?
I think we need to be careful sometimes.
Yeah, be careful sometimes.
The discernment mafia is strong.
Just funny.
It depends on how you do it. And I think Babylon Bee is a good example of this too.
Yeah.
Where you're taking tough topics and you're making it sound different with humor.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a right way to do that. I think I think good satire is very effective.
I think so.
Yeah. You know, like I remember doing one, before we got on, you were asking me what my favorite satire was. It's hard to answer that. But one of the ones that I really enjoyed doing was if a first century Christian had a conversation with a Christian today, like a Christian in 2021. And that was very convicting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that was satire. And I'm like, that's kind of the point. Like, we have no idea. I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, we are in America. We gripe and we complain and there's stuff going on that is not good. And, you know, I want to talk about that stuff and address it.
Me too.
But like, I'm really glad I'm in America still.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's why when they say you don't like it, just leave. And people are like, I'm not going nowhere. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, and this is the thing is like, I want them to learn about how like martyred, man. Christians are martyred.
Oh, yeah.
Murdered, tortured in other nations. You have the underground voice of the martyrs. I mean, you're talking about people that go through horrendous things in the name of Christ that we know nothing about.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's something that's funny you say that. Not funny, but I think we shared it in a couple episodes. We were talking about like the truth. Like, should we talk about a lot of these topics that people don't want to talk about, right? Whether it's LGBTQ, what is a woman concept, whatever, right? And we've had the talk, and it's like, well, we gotta love people. I do love people, right? Don't get me wrong. And we've said that people died martyred for the biblical truth. And modern day Christians just say no. We don't want to offend people. Yet people died. People were crucified. And we're just modern day Christians don't want to touch it. Like, oh no, the coexisting. That brings me to your like the satire, right? Like the coexisting. Like, that's sad to me when Christians just don't want to address things because they don't want to offend people.
And some people don't know how to address it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that too.
Yeah,
because then it gives everyone a bad, like a bad rep. But I've come to the point where it doesn't matter. I feel like Christians are always going to get a bad rep, and that's just the way it is.
Well, get a bad rep because you're doing the right thing in the name of Christ. Yeah. That's the kind of the way I look at it. Because,
I agree.
Yeah, man. I mean, you and I, again, we were talking about this before we got on, but there's this whole realm where I think they just do some Christians can do a lot more harm when it comes to saying what right from wrong, sticking with scripture. Because what people do, what was it? My friend, he posted this the other day. Oh, being a jerk is not a spiritual gift.
Yeah.
And I really liked that because he's like, the point that he was trying to say, and he's actually somebody who's helped me with satire before, is that, you know, pull a Paul, man, contextualize what you're trying to say. And I think people are scared to do that. Yeah. Because they're like, oh no, I don't want to, what is it?
Offend?
Not offend, but you don't want to compromise. They think that they're compromising. And I'm like, no, it's not the same as syncretizing. You're not coming alongside something wrong in the culture or unbiblical and adopting it to win somebody. You're staying away from that, but you're saying it in a way that they can understand. Yeah. And I think that is so effective. And I think that takes people skills. I think it takes knowing your audience and
relationship building, like I was talking about earlier.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm taking an evangelism class. I go to Southern Evangelical Seminary, and this, my professor, he's brilliant. He's gone all over the world and he does this all the time. And, the things that everything that he's saying, I really agree with. Some things I'm like, I want to learn more about that because I don't quite understand, but in this aspect, he's talking about how to reach the lost. And that's a big thing that he's big about. He does not like cookie cutter approach gospel presentations. And I see why. Right. He's like, how do you know how do you, like Chuck, okay, you've had a tough background.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody approaching you, knowing that you've had that tough background with the gospel is so valuable to know. Yeah. It's like they already know what you've been through, coming at you with some sort of authoritarian like force about repent, you're going to go to hell and whatever it is, will do nothing for you. Yeah. But for you, what really did it for you is hearing about God's love and forgiveness. Yeah.
Hands down.
And so, but people have to know that. And so it's like, you can't, where you, I don't know, maybe needed a slap in the head, I think it depends.
Can I slap you in the head?
You could try.
Just too far away. We just got the mics working. Don't.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's an element where,
that's good.
Yeah. I think it's just an effective and non-effective way to do that.
I mean, scripture says it, right? Like Jesus came with truth
and love.
Yeah. Truth and grace, right? Like it's both too, right? So yes, we have to be truthful and call out sin for sin, I think, right? But yet we still have to do it with love. And like we say all the time, dude, like secular non-believers, I don't expect them to agree with the things that we say or talk about.
I think it's strange when we get mad at the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Being the world.
Like, like why are we mad at non-believers for not believing what I believe? Like I expect them not to believe.
Yeah, it's so hard nowadays.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way with even movies and stuff. I have a friend who rants a lot about, and I get it. I do. I get like, certain movies being, inappropriate, but I'm like, the culture's going to cult.
Yeah.
The world's going to world.
Yep.
They're not Christian.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, I'm confused why you're wanting to, you're offended, rightfully so, because it is offensive, but why are you upset at their actions that they're going to do anyway? You know what I mean? It's happening. But here's the thing. It's almost like them coming in. That's what they're doing to us.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, you need to compromise your morals because that offends us.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, we're going over there.
We don't want them to tell us to do that, but we tell them to do
exactly.
that.
Exactly. And I'm like, they have to know at some level. That's the difference. That's kind of what we're talking about, right? Where it's just, they have to know on some level why that is even wrong. And then, oh man, you have to get into all kinds of stuff. Like, okay, do they even believe in God? If they do, okay, does truth exist? Is that objective? Do you believe in objective truth? Can miracles happen? Like you have to start from the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to that, right? Like we don't, why should we expect them to believe what we believe?
We don't, but I don't expect Christians to
but it's the same thing though.
Protect their kids from the world and just let everything
we shouldn't.
happen.
I actually am a big believer in inoculating our children.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we should just keep them hidden the whole time.
No, I don't either. At some point they're going to get out there and
oh, dude, at some point they're going to be out there and it's like, are you ready?
Yeah.
J. Warner Wallace did this. This was brilliant. And I love this. And I kind of do this to my kids too. If you don't know who he is, he's a cold case homicide detective turned Christian, brilliant apologist. He goes to the cross-examine stuff. Yeah, I'm like, man, it's always so intimidating being in the room with them because they're such good speakers and like know stuff. But you're like, oh, you're so much smarter than me. But in his book, I can't remember which one it is, probably Forensic Faith, because that's my favorite one. And it's talking about this. Yeah, I love that book. And he had a room full of students that were learning about how to defend their faith. They went through all these courses about what Christians believe, how to defend it. And he brought in an atheist. And he's like, here, go tell him why you're an atheist. Go tell why you hate God, yada, yada. And he just sat there in the back, just crossed his arms. And just let the kids do that. And oh my goodness, it was like the best thing ever to read because it's like, you don't know. He's training them.
Yeah.
You don't know what you believe until you're actually out there in the mission field being asked these tough questions. And this is why I respect a lot of people like Justin Brierley. He wrote a book about, what he does. He's like, I've heard it all. And he's like, I'm still a believer.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I've heard it all. And I might not know everything. I don't consider myself like a smart, intelligent, whatever. But I know what I believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've heard it all. Nothing's going to convince me otherwise.
And so for these kids, though, it's like they need to know.
It's funny you said. I think we're just going on a tangent, so it's fine. The satire was good. Let's get into me. Right? Okay. But so you're talking about that. My son, he's 14, came home the other day. They're going through all that stuff. He talked to me prior to science class, and we talked about the fine-tuning, like why the earth is the way it is, like it has to be a supernatural being, you know what I mean, like trying to help him justify in class, like, why we believe in God, right? And then I use the whole like it's Frank Turek's book, right?
Oh,
I don't have enough faith.
I was thinking of that.
I'm like, so then you make them tell them why. Make them defend why they're atheists, right? Like, don't try to go in a rabbit hole. You don't have to. The less you say, the better. Make them like stumble on their words. And so I tried to feed him all this stuff. He said he went to class and like forgot everything. Couldn't justify his faith. He's like, Dad, I'm like, I know I wanted to say stuff. I wanted to say it. Like, I wanted to talk about the fine tuning and how a Big Bang can't exist because big like explosions destroy, they don't create. Like, how can nothing create nothing? Like, I wanted to do all this stuff and I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, it's all right, dude. Like, it's fine. Like, you're 14 years old. Like,
nobody even wants to do
it. But that's he was really excited about it. And I was like, it's fine, dude. Like, I'll plug you in with Melissa. It's fine. She's gonna figure it out. but what is very important, like what you're getting at, is like the world is going to rob a lot of kids' minds, right? Right now we're seeing it in culture, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I'm not opposed of Disney. We still have the Disney Channel, but we talk to our kids. Yeah.
You're going to hell.
Hey, you're going to cancel our channel. Dang it. You were about to subscribe. If you're going to subscribe, I'll go cancel my Disney right now. Yeah. But it's the same thing. Like, we talk to our kids about what's going on, because is canceling Disney going to solve the problem? I don't think so, right? They're seeing it on YouTube. They see it everywhere. They see it in music, or commercials. Any commercial you see,
to spot it,
right?
Yeah.
So we're talking to them about it, what the Bible says, what we believe, why we believe. Now the little kids is where it's scary, right? That's what I'm talking about. Disney, like my little guy. If we allow my 2-year-old to watch Buzz Lightyear have all this relationships or whatever, it becomes normal to them, right? We can try to battle and try to show them what's right, but those are very sensitive ages, right?
Your brain, starting to develop
what is normal to them. So for him, it's different, right? Like, we're monitoring and making sure like what he's watching and things like that. So I don't know. I think we need to talk about it though to our kids. Definitely.
Yeah, and that's my educational background is early childhood multicultural development. And you're right. There's between the ages of 1 and 6, the most brain growth happens.
Yeah.
That is just so unbelievable. They don't even remember a lot, but I was actually having a conversation with a friend before I came here, and there's something called emotional memory. And for example, I have my 8-year-old. She's 8. When I was nursing her, and I did this on purpose, I did this by design because it worked with my first, but I would give her a really soft, cozy blanket, because you want them to remember you. You want something to be like a mom proxy when you're not there, because oh my goodness, your kids always need you. Yeah. And so while I was nursing her, I'd give her this blanket and she would stroke it and she would rub it, and it would be like, oh, it's like mom. And she came up with a name with it. It's a dumb name. It's called Mamax. I don't get it.
Mamax.
Too. Mamak.
She named it?
Mamak. Yeah.
My daughter named their pacifier Wasu.
Right? Yeah. Like, she's like 1, can't even talk. I'm like, what does that even mean? So, but Mamak has been around forever. She still strokes it and rubs it. She's 8. And I'm like, I know why you do that.
It's your brain.
It's a brain thing.
Yeah.
It's an emotional memory. So if you take something that you're feeling, take it alongside something that you're seeing. You know, for me, I had issues separating fantasy from reality as a kid, big time. I wanted things to be real that were not real. And a lot of that had to do with a new agey type household that I grew up in, where it's like, oh, it exists in another dimension. I mean, what 3-year-old, 4-year-old doesn't want to hear that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think that there's an element where they don't understand certain levels of logic. You gotta be.
That's where we have to shield them for that stuff.
And
inoculation is different than shielding them. Yeah,
sure.
And I was just reading. We talk about pornography and sexual sin a lot on our channel, but it's just the age that kids are being exposed to pornography is getting lower and lower and lower. You got back in the day, teenagers wanted to look at porn, they would have to pull some sort of smooth move to get a magazine somewhere. But now it's literally right here if we wanted to.
Yeah.
And so the age that
cell
kids
phones are just, I mean, anything that's attached to the internet, and for my girls, like, okay, so I have 2 girls, so there's an element of like different levels of parenting you got to do, I guess, depending on your gender of your children. But
for sure,
for me, like, for example, you talked about Disney. I'm homeschooling now, but it would be a situation where we would watch a Disney movie and I'm like, I want you to spot this and this and this and this. Like, what is that? Right? So like Frozen 2, for example, right? Lots of like new age stuff. And I'm like, oh, this to me, I don't know, maybe it's the apologist in me, but I'm like, this is like playground for me. I love this. I'm like, let's watch this and let's talk about it. Yeah. Other parents,
they're like, Mom, I just want to watch this. You're messing it up for me.
Oh no, they know how I am. Yeah. I will pause something. I'm like, where's the agenda, guys? You know, like, where's the fallacy?
Oh, I need to do that more.
Oh, dude,
I'm trying to get that way.
I get excited about it, and I kind of have to be a little like I have to put my heels in the ground and be like, no, guys, this is good. Yeah. Like you actually want to do this, and some parents are just like, oh no, I don't want to ruin my children. I don't want to expose them. No. No. Like we need to inoculate them. Like stop right now.
It's like you get ahead of the game.
That's actually harmful. Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's very harmful to just not expose them to any of this, and then they're gonna go out on their own in the world, and then all of a sudden there's a reason why statistics show that when your kid goes off to college, they go off to work, wherever they go away from home, they have absolutely no frame of reference for the world, because they were not exposed to it. It's so strange.
And then they're like,
it's like flamethrower.
This is amazing.
Oh my god.
and it's crazy out there, you know.
Oh yeah.
There's I think I agree with that. That's really a good way to put it. I'm gonna start pausing,
just talking to
them. Talking to I think I do a good job about it, but I think pointing out stuff as it happens.
Well, asking them to think though is important. Yeah, because what to think and how to think are two different things. So if I'm and I tell Jasmine this all the time, my oldest, she's 12. My other one is 8. If I can get her attention for like 2 minutes, I'm good. You know, but it's how to think. I'm like, all right, so guys, I'm not going to tell you the answer, but you need to think about why. What's going on here? Okay, so we learned about a straw man fallacy. We learned about a straw man. Why is this a straw man? You know, like, what do you think? Is that a straw man? We learned about false cause fallacies. Red herrings are always fun.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, red herrings. I'm like, oh, that's a red herring.
But anyways, Miss Melissa Dougherty.
Dougherty.
How do you pronounce your name? You tell your
Dougherty. My maiden name is Alexander.
Alexander.
Come on, how Greek is that?
Yeah.
I miss it.
Well, we thank you once again for coming on this channel.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm glad we made this happen.
I appreciate it too.
You're welcome anytime. I love talking to you.
Yeah, it's fun.
Maybe instead of coffee shops, we do it here too sometimes.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. Thank you for coming to our house. Our little makeshift. You have a she shed. Did your audience know that?
Shedio.
Did your audience know that?
Yeah, they know that.
Right. I have a garagio. Is that
what?
I'll go with a garagio. I don't know, like a garagio.
Yes,
behind this right here, there's boxes. There's boxes of stuff.
Yeah. Garagio.
The garagio.
Awesome.
I appreciate it too. It means a lot, and thank you for letting me show my pretty face.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being a part of my Satire.
That's probably.
That was your.
I love I love laughing, right? And that day was. I hope the bloopers reel comes out because we laughed so much.
That was the best. Yeah.
I think that we should do some more stuff like that on our channel because I think we're both. Can be funny.
Can we tell people that the spit was not spit?
Oh yeah, I actually pinned a comment.
Okay.
Where it had your guys' info, and I'm like, oh, and it wasn't real spit.
Yeah, it wasn't real spit. It was.
Oh my gosh, I had a lady get mad at me for that. There was a comment about that. Yeah, and she thought how disgraceful it was. Like we can make the point without spit, and I'm like, it's not real spit.
And no, you couldn't. That happened in the real church with real spit.
I was just gonna say, but do you see the irony?
I do.
Even if it was real spit, I mean, this might be gross, but I feel like you're my brother. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't.
No.
So that's how Mike's Todd brother felt. Anyways, we could go on forever. Thank you. And that's all we got. This is usually how we end, but I don't have a big screen.
Wait.
We just shake hands.
Power Rangers. Soak in the glory.